Hey there, Stampers. This is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada. And today I'm here to share this cute, simple card with you using brand new products from the August to December 2020 catalog, mini catalog. Okay, so the bundle that we are going to use is the Beautiful Autumn bundle, and it comes with the stamp set and 3 punches. Now, because of the glare, I'm not sure you can see, there's an acorn punch. I think this is an oak leaf. And then there's a maple leaf punch as well. And they all coordinate with the images that are in here. And there's some great sentiments in this, like have a beautiful day. You could use that anytime. Thank you. Life is better with you. Hey there. And my heart is grateful for you. I love the combination of the scripty font and the block lettering. These are greetings that you can use all year round. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I created this background. So you'll need a piece of watercolor paper. I went to my scrap bin and pulled out scraps of watercolor paper. You don't need a large piece. And we are going to use the water painters. Now, we used to have something called aqua painters. Now we have something called water painters. They're the same type of idea, except this comes in a set of 3 different tips. So there's a larger one, and then there is a medium one, and then there's a small one. Okay, and we're going to use the medium-sized one. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to squeeze this so that water comes out. I want to wet my watercolor paper first. This just allows the ink to flow freely. Actually, before we do that, let's open our ink pads so that we're ready. I'm going to use 3 different colors. I'm using crushed curry, and what I've done is I've just put a little drop of ink refill in the lid. You can just squeeze your ink pads as well, and that will work, just to transfer a little bit of ink to the lid. This is Blackberry Bliss and Cajun Craze. Okay, so now I'm going to squeeze it, wet my paper. You can see that there's a drop of water coming down here. There we go. So I'm just going to wet the whole thing. I'm going to keep squeezing so that it's really wet. You want your paper to be really wet, and you want some moisture when you go to pull the color as well. And then I'm just going to add, start with the lightest color, and just wherever you feel like adding it. Let's do a little bit in the corner here. Okay, and then I'm going to go into the Cajun Craze. Because I'm going from lightest to darkest, I don't necessarily need to clean my brush. You can go over top of the color that you've already laid out. So you eventually want to fill it in so that there's no white space left. Let's just add a little bit more over here. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with my Blackberry. And the more moisture you have on the brush, the lighter it will be. And I'm purposely making some a little bit lighter, some a little bit darker, blending those edges so that it's not a harsh transition. I want this one to be a little bit darker. Let's pull, there we go. Oh, such a pretty color. Okay, now I'm just going to get some of that color off and just soften these edges a little bit. Okay, and then when you're happy with it, you'll just set it aside to dry. So let's close these up and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so that needs to dry. Once it's fully dry, I've got another one here that's done. Let's put the cap on this. Okay, so now once that's fully done, then we are going to stamp our background. So I am going to use soft suede for this. And then I've got my 3 outline leaf images. So I've got the maple leaf, the oak leaf, and then this little leaf. And I'm just using the outline because the color on the background that we created will be enough color. I don't need to stamp that inside piece. This is actually a 2-step stamp. So you don't need to create a background. You can just stamp the inside piece in whatever color you want. So you can see that I'm stamping some of them off the side of the page, and they're in all different directions. It's meant to look like leaves falling. So I'm starting with the largest leaf and work my way down to the smallest. So now I'll do the oak leaf, and let's do it this way. Just keep stamping till you've filled in all of those spots. You want to fill in lots of these areas. You can make it as filled in as you'd like. Okay, and then we'll go back in with this tiny little leaf, and this will just fill in some of these empty spots and add 1 or 2 around the edges as well, because I'm going to trim this down. So, and I know when I trim it, the closer they are together, the less likely I'll be to have gaps in between. Oh, these are quite close together over here. Not really much room to add any of those over there. Okay, and then while we've got this out, I'm just going to set that aside for a minute. We are going to stamp our greeting. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of very vanilla cardstock and I've run it through our die cutting machine using the stitched rectangles dies, and I used the 2nd largest one. So I fed it through, cut out my stitched rectangle, and now I'm going to take the greeting "Life is Better with You," ink it up with soft suede. Sure this is straight. Stamp it down in the lower right hand corner. Okay, and then let's see here. So, okay, we're gonna need that again in a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna pull in my little paper trimmer because we're gonna trim this down to the size that we need it. So this will get cut down to 7/8 of an inch by 3.5 inches. So 3.5 inches by about 7/8 of an inch. So this is, we'll do 3/4 because this is 1.5. So we're going to do 3/4 of an inch. That way I can get 2 out of one piece. Okay. And actually I'm going to show you the next step on here. So what I did for the leaves that are falling, I don't know if you can see this, you probably can't see it too well, but there's a little bit of sparkle to it. So what I did was one of these sheets, like I did up several of these, so one of them I made sure to stamp all of my leaves, the maple leaf and the oak leaf, so that they were full, so not off of the edges. And then what I did was I took my Wink of Stella and I just colored it in, and then you can use the punch to punch it out. The other thing you can do is you can add your Wink of Stella before you stamp and just cover the entire surface with Wink of Stella. And then we get this beautiful glittery leaf. So I've got several of those already cut out here, so we can go ahead and finish assembling our card. Okay, so my card base measures 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25, and I don't have my bone folder handy, so let's just use a ruler. And this is crumb cake. And then I've got a layer of soft suede. This measures 3 9/16 by 4 7/8. I'm going to use my seal adhesive and just add a little bit of adhesive on the back here. This adhesive works really well. You don't need a lot of it. That's going to go in the center of the soft suede. Just like that. And then our strip will go across the top. So I'll just add a little bit more adhesive here. And I purposely cut this so that it would be larger than the white, but smaller than the soft suede. So there's a little bit of a border up here, and then there's just ever so slight border down here. Now I'm going to pull in the ribbon. This is the basket weave and metallic ribbon. This is also part of this suite. So you get this beautiful mint macaron basket weave. It's almost like a quilted, like it's really pretty, really, really pretty. And then you get this beautiful copper metallic ribbon. So we're going to use a little bit of that. I'm going to bring in some mini glue dots. I'm just going to add 3 of them on here. So 1 on either edge, right on the seam of the watercolor paper that we created. Peel off the backing. I'm just using some leftover mini glue dots from past paper pumpkin kits, but they're the same as our mini glue dots in the annual catalog. And then this is going to go right across, just like that. I'll use my snips to snip that. And then this is going to go onto our card base. Right in the center, we've got a nice big border. Love that. Okay, and then we're going to choose a couple of these leaves. I popped up 2 of them and I had 2 of them flat. So let's see. We're going to put that one right there. So I'm going to use just a little piece of dimensional on here. Let's see. So I'm trying to line it up with this one so it makes it look like that's where it was meant to be. So I'll just put a little piece of that on the back there, line this up just like that, and then we'll put another one. This one's just going to go flat, and since that one's got the stem up, this one will have the stem going down, and then we'll add another one popped up. Right here. See, super cute. And then I've got a tiny little bow that I tied using linen thread. I'm just going to use a mini glue dot on here. Add my bow. I think I might put another dimensional underneath there. Let's peel this up. Feels a bit wobbly. Just snip another piece. The outside edges of our dimensional sheets are great for this kind of thing. All right, there we go. Now it's not quite so wobbly. And there you go. So that's a fun, simple card. The layout of the card is very simple, but it's kind of fun to play around with a different background technique on that. You could even do, this whole piece could be that background, and then you could pop some of those leaves up. That would be fun too. All right, so thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. And if you are not yet a subscriber, I truly appreciate all of my subscribers. Hit that subscribe button. All right, thanks so much for watching.